D2 New York.
And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Thursday. It's October 9th. It's 2025. And unfortunately for Yankee fans, it's another post-mortem show. What a letdown. What a disappointment. The exhilaration of Tuesday evening turned into just a flat performance as the Yankees lost 5-2. They lose 3-1. They go home in the division series, and it's now 16 years without a championship. Now, you could paint it whichever way you want, and you've heard me say this before. There is a value to every year having a chance to win a championship, but there is no value to not winning that championship every year for 16 years. It is the second longest championship-less streak in the glorious history of this franchise that began in 1903. It's really mind-boggling when you consider the amount of money that's been spent on the rosters since the 2009 championship, that they continue to fall short. And I wish I had an answer for you. Something's not right, and I don't buy the playoffs are a crapshoot. Because if it was a crapshoot, then every now and then you win a crapshoot. Every now and then. But there's something missing in the formula. Because I've said this many, many times before. If you think that the playoffs are a crapshoot, then there's got to be a different way to build another mousetrap. There has to be a way to build a team that will complete the journey in the postseason, because something is missing. They came close last year, but they didn't win. Now, this is a franchise where the captains, Derek Jeter and then Aaron Judge, taking the cue from the patriarch of the organization, George Steinbrenner, have said, either you win a championship or it's a failure. Now, I have pushed back against that because I don't believe that to be necessarily true. I don't think that last year was a failure. It was a disappointment. But surprise, this year's a failure. You cannot lose in the division series a year after you go to the World Series. You can't. You shouldn't. I mean, when you look at the team on paper, and the game is not played on paper, we all know that, they should have gone further than they went. Taking nothing away from the Blue Jays, because the Blue Jays finished ahead of them in the American League East. They both had the same record, but you can't say, well, the Yankees unfairly lost the tiebreaker. No, they fairly lost the tiebreaker. They got beaten up by the Blue Jays during the regular season. And then yesterday, they got outclassed. And if it wasn't for an otherworldly performance by the captain, Aaron Judge, they get swept. I mean, let's be honest. He had to do something that was from the Mount Olympus of the baseball gods in order for them to win that game in Game 3. I know there are people out there, Yankee universe, they're ready for somebody to get fired. They want fingers pointed. My guess is no one will be fired. My buddy Joel Sherman asked Aaron Boone if he thought his job was safe, and he kind of grinned and said, well, I've got 2 years left on my contract. I don't think so. And I don't even know if letting somebody go is the answer. I just think there has to be a slight tweak in the way they build a team. Because I think I am in lockstep with the organization that home runs win ball games. But I think you need guys that hit home runs that also don't swing and miss a lot. And I know that sometimes is a tough thing to acquire, but you did acquire that with Cody Bellinger at 29 home runs and had a different approach with 2 strikes. But you look at the bottom of the Yankee order, and there's a lot of dead spots there. You can't have a 1 through 6 lineup. And then at the bottom of the order, you cross your finger that somebody gets hot. Yesterday's game in particular, you have an exhilarating comeback win on Tuesday in Game 3, and the Blue Jays are pitching a bullpen game. And what you did, and I think it was, it's the way you approach a bullpen game if you're the Yankees or if you're any team that's facing a bullpen game, you try to stagger the lineup, lefty, righty, so that they can't match you up in lanes. But what happened was there was a lot of lefty, righty, but there was also lefty out. So it provided lanes for John Snyder to take advantage of. If you look at the bottom of the Yankee order, so you bring in a left-hander to face Austin Wells, who bats 7th. You're not worried about Anthony Volpe batting 8th. And then Ryan McMahon bats 9th, although Ryan McMahon did have a home run against a lefty. And then you keep that lefty in to face Trent Grisham. Trent Grisham had an awful postseason. Then you bring in your righty to match up with Judge. Cody Bellinger is better against lefties than he is against righties anyway, so that move works. And then your righty is matching up against Stanton. Then we start the whole thing over again with Jazz Chisholm. You bring in a lefty then. Paul Goldschmidt's dangerous against lefties, but you try to keep him in the park. And back to Wells, Volpe, and McMahon. So the staggered lineup kind of worked in favor for John Snyder. But try to explain to me, anybody, I mean, I'm willing to listen to you guys too. How could you batter the Blue Jay bullpen on Sunday and Tuesday and completely be neutered on Wednesday in a must-win situation? How's that possible? Cam Slittler, I thought, pitched very, very well. He did not have near the dynamic stuff that he had against the Red Sox in Game 3. Not near the dynamic stuff. But it shows you he's a good pitcher because he persevered. He went into the 7th inning. He gave up 2 earned runs. And then Jazz Chisholm Jr. blew a double play ground ball that would have ended the inning. That led to 2 more runs. Kind of broke the game open. That made it 4-1, and you didn't like the Yankees' chances. So no knock on Schlittler. He was amazing. Obviously, Judge was phenomenal in the postseason. In this series alone, he was 13 for 26, 3 extra base hits, 7 runs batted in. The Jazz era was enormous. Enormous. It changed the whole specter of the game. But how does the highest scoring team in baseball come up so empty in a big moment? How's that possible? You look at some of the guys that contributed so mightily during the season. Grisham, Rice, Chisholm. Combined, they had 9 hits in the series. Oh, by the way, that's the same amount of hits as Ernie Clement had. And as for Volpe, those that listen to this show, you certainly know that I've always supported him. But I don't know what to do with him. I don't know what you do with him. His highs and lows are just so enormously frustrating. So he looked really good against the Red Sox. You know what he did in this series? He was 1 for 15 with 11 strikeouts. In the ALDS, 1 for 15 with 11 strikeouts. He had 3 more strikeouts yesterday before the Yankees pinch hit for him in the 9th inning with Jason Dominguez. His first appearance in the postseason, Dominguez, he got a double against Jeff Hoffman. 11 strikeouts in the ALDS, 16 in 26 at-bats in the postseason. So the Yankees could continue to say he's elite, whatever the case may be, but can you go into spring training next year and say he's my starting shortstop? Or do you at least have to have a competition between Volpe and Caballero? because Anthony did not distinguish himself this year. The lows are too low, and they take too long to get out of. And I keep bringing up the 19 home runs and the 70-some-odd RBI. What does that mean if you've got about a 200 on-base percentage? He's got to be better, and if he can't be better, the Yankees have to find somebody that's better. Now, we're not going to have a referendum today on the changes that are going to be made, but it's going to be a completely different team, everybody. Goldschmidt, free agent. Grisham, free agent. Bellinger's going to opt out of his contract, free agent. Luke Weaver, free agent. Devin Williams, free agent. It's going to be completely different. It's going to be a completely different scene. And it has to be. Again, you've got to find a way to build a better mousetrap. You just have to. You can't lean on that old adage, well, it's a crapshoot. Well, it's not a crapshoot for the Astros. It hasn't been a crapshoot since 2009 for the Red Sox. It doesn't look like it's a crapshoot for the Dodgers. There's something missing in that secret sauce. And somebody smarter than me has to tell me what, but these guys, they come up empty too often in big situations. To put the performance they did yesterday out there in a game that they had to win on their fourth match point. They'd won the previous three, the two against the Red Sox and then Tuesday, and then to come up like they did yesterday against the bullpen game. How's that possible? And I know Yankee Universe for years now, well, they've been blaming the Yankees' postseason failures on Aaron Judge. Well, that's out the window. You can't say that. Guy pretty much carried you this far to the last at bat when he kept the ninth inning alive. It was a game of just missing. So close. And isn't that frustrating? Because that seems to be the story all the time. The eighth inning, the Blue Jays bring in Jeff Hoffman. He's all over the place. The bases are loaded. And Austin Wells swings at the first pitch. And he lost a shallow fly ball to left field. Again, there's two schools of thought there. The guy can't throw a strike. Make him throw a strike before you swing. The second school of thought is he's got to throw a strike, so jump him. Okay, so if that's the school of thought, then you've got to drive the ball. You can't aim the ball, but you got to drive the ball. You can't loft a fly ball to left field. That's a bad at bat. In the ninth inning, and this guy had, I'd say, probably the second best season of any Yankee behind Judge. Judge is on first base. If Bellinger could get on, then Stanton comes up as the tying run against a guy who's known to give up home runs. It's right there in front of you. But he strikes out Bellinger, a guy who doesn't strike out that often. It just wasn't in the cards. And I said this during the postgame on Yes, and I'll repeat it here for those that didn't see it. I think Aaron Boone is a terrific person and a gentleman. And he's such a positive guy to the point that Yankee fans get frustrated by it because it seems so Pollyanna-ish. And he waxed poetic about how close this team is and that he takes such great pride in how they all pulled the rope in the same way. And, it's such a great thing that, they're so close, and that's why it's so tough to lose when they're so close. Listen, I get it. I've been around the team. I'm lucky enough that they fly on the charter to make travel easier for me. They are close. They all like each other. There's no cliques, anything like that. They're really close. And I guess that's because of Aaron Judge, who is a unifier and a uniter. But after the final game of the year when you lost in such excruciating fashion, who cares if they're close? It's not boys' club. It's not the boys and girls club. It's not Father Flanagan. I could give you chapter and verse the amount of teams that despised each other. The Oakland A's in the 70s. They fought all the time. They won 3 championships in a row. The 77, 78 Yankees. Reggie was fighting with everybody in that clubhouse. And they won. Now, the 90s Yankees that won 4 out of 5, they were actually close, but there's no connection to being close and winning. There's no, because baseball is one of those sports where you can be selfish and still win. You get hits, you're going to win. They don't move runners anymore anyway. There's no hit and runs anymore anyway. So you go up, you do your job, you drive the ball, you drive somebody in. I don't care if you hate his guts. And I'm sure there were a legion of Yankee fans that watched that interview with Aaron Boone, and he's waxing poetic about how close everybody. So what? There are a lot of bad teams that are really close, too. I bet your White Sox really like each other. I bet you the Rockies really like each other. That's not something that matters. It's a nice thing to have, but it's not a manifestation of what you do on the field by any stretch of the imagination. And that does make losing harder because they do like each other. And they realize that as they sat in that clubhouse yesterday, it's probably the last time they're all going to be together as that singular group because it's going to change next year. That's the nature of sports. But just because you build a team that really hangs out together and really likes each other doesn't mean they're going to win. That shouldn't be the objective. No, over the year they grew so close. Okay, great, win. I'm sure they were close when they were 20-31 in that 51-game stretch. And then they were just as close when they finished with a great record starting on August 11th. But what did the closeness mean and the friendship mean when they came up empty yesterday? In this new age, and it's not just the Yankees, everybody has to get along. Kumbaya, the manager and the coaches in football and in basketball, they've got to get along. Everybody has to like each other. Nobody should be insulted or have their ego dinged. Play. Get hits when you have to. Bases loaded. Get that hit. So what if everybody likes you? I don't take any joy to sit here and take these shots. But, I mean, sometimes you've got to sit here and you've got to, say it like it is. The individual parts of this team are really, really impressive. And I thought that after the trade deadline, it was really a complete team. They made the bench better, much, much better. They acquired Bednar. They acquired a guy like Doval who was unpitchable for a month, but certainly was an important player in the postseason. Those moves really made this team better. But there's also parts of the team that aren't great, that don't fit. And I'm going to tell you what they are. You can't have 3 left-handed catchers. It doesn't make sense. So that you face a guy like Garrett Crochet or Tarek Skubal, there's no one to go to have a right-hander off the bench. You can't have 3 left-handed catchers. And the backup outfielder that the Yankees had was Jason Dominguez. So when the other team or the Blue Jays brought in a lefty to face Grisham, who was lost in this series, lost in the whole postseason, you couldn't go to Jason Dominguez. Why? Because you can't hit right-handed as a switch hitter. You needed a right-handed outfielder so you could pinch hit for Grisham. So in that case, Boone's hands are tied. The only way you could use Dominguez was against a righty, and you wouldn't pinch hit for Grisham against a righty. You'd only pinch hit for Grisham against a lefty. And there was no righty because you didn't put Austin Slater on the roster. For the most part, the Yankee defense played very well. But then, in a big spot, Jazz Chisholm Jr. blew a double play. That changed, I think, the specter of the game because you still felt at 2-1, the Yankees were that one swing away from getting back in the game. So in closing, before I get to you guys, if you're going to say that getting to the World Series and losing in the 5th game was a failure, which I disagree with, well then what is this? Are we supposed to put lipstick on a pig? Hal Steinbrenner invested $320 million of his family's money to get knocked out in the ALDS against a team that has a significant payroll, but nothing close to the Yankees. And if you look at the Aaron Boone years, they have always won the series when they're the favorite, or they're the lower seed or the higher seed. And they've always lost a series when they're the lower seed. Now, they're the lower seed against the Blue Jays by the skin of their teeth because they lost a head-to-head. They both had 94 wins. But sometimes you do have to overachieve. And for the $320 million payroll, you've got to win the division. And I know you could go back chapter and verse throughout the season. The losses in Cincinnati, getting swept in Miami, getting swept those 4 games in Toronto. You win one more game along the line, and you got to buy through the first round. And then in this round, you got Max Fried pitching at home rather than opening up in Toronto. You get to set your rotation instead of having to go with Luis Heel in game 1, which kind of set the whole thing in motion. So you had 94 wins, the same as the Blue Jays, but they beat you head-to-head. The Red Sox beat you head-to-head. There are so many opportunities for the Yankees to win that division. That's got to be job one. Because when they won the division last year, you know what? They got to the World Series. And it's not about home field as much as it is allowing your pitching to be set up. They couldn't set up their pitching for this series because they had to use their pitching to beat the Red Sox when they should have been home relaxing and getting ready for the winner of the Red Sox against the Blue Jays. Against so many games that you would refer to as gut punches. That last game in Miami, we'll go on and on how much that meant. The games in Cincinnati, the one loss you had against the Rockies, the one loss you had against the White Sox in Chicago. And I know that there's probably wins that you feel that you stole. All true. That's the ebb and flow of a season. But the season was so uneven. But it was right there in front of them. They didn't have to dig a hole against the Red Sox. They didn't have to dig a 2-0 hole against the Blue Jays, and they did. So Aaron Boone might be right. This might have been the most talented team that he's had in his 8 years, but they didn't perform. So what is wrong in this secret sauce that they're not performing in the biggest moments? What? And you can't blame it on the captain. He was magnificent, absolutely magnificent. And you can't blame it on the kid, Schlittler. He was terrific. Fried didn't carry his weight in this series, neither did Rodon. And that put them in a hole. Luis Heel, I mean, we can all joke around that he was 4-1 after coming up the IL. He has not been the same pitcher since the All-Star break of last year. So some people that had to step up didn't. Some people had great seasons like Grisham. They disappeared. Some people that had bad seasons like Devin Williams. He was a stud. But here we are on October 9th, and we're talking the same story we've spoken for 16 years now. What went wrong? This team has too many resources. They spend too much money on payroll to always fall short. 16 years is the second longest streak in the history of this franchise. And the 18 years is the record, and that was at the beginning of the franchise's existence. It's not good enough. Something's not right. And it's how you quantify and identify success. That's what it comes down to. Is success getting into the tournament? Oh, I guess they were successful. Or is success winning a championship? And I'm not a championship or bust guy. I have never been that. Because I realize how hard it is to do. But 16 years with, if not the highest payroll in baseball, one of the highest payrolls in baseball all the time. And that's what makes me laugh when people give me, well, Steinbrenner doesn't want to win. Oh, you're full of it. You don't even know the guy. There's a burning hot desire to win. And he's entrusted people to do that, and he gives them the resources to do that. Their facility is the best in baseball in spring training and also during the offseason. A $320 million payroll should be enough. You don't have to spend $450 million to clamp down a championship because money does not guarantee a championship. There's no way to put lipstick on a pig here. I'm sorry to use the same cliche. This was not a successful season. Was it enjoyable? Yeah, there were a lot of enjoyable parts of it. Watching Aaron Judge be great again is enjoyable. Watching Bellinger, what he did his first year as a Yankee, that was enjoyable. The professionalism, the utter class of Paul Goldschmidt, enjoyable. The ascension of Cam Schlittler, great. The year that Grisham had during the regular season, terrific. The year that Fried and Rodon had during the regular season, outstanding. Those are too many positives for me to name for them to fall short. So what's the reason? Why do they continue to fall short of their goal? And their goal is to win. And you can say, well, baseball happened. I get it. Because baseball happened on Tuesday, too, when they had that thrilling come-from-behind win. Baseball happened. But you can't fall back on baseball happened for 16 straight years. You have got to run into a championship with the resources that the Steinbrenner family provides to the baseball front office. You've got to run into at least one championship in 16 years. It's almost should be demanded. You can't fall short for 16 years. And I have never bought into the crapshoot aspect of it. I just haven't. For other teams, it hasn't been a crapshoot. They've won. And if it is, in fact, a crapshoot, then why doesn't the crapshoot ever go your way for 16 years? It almost did last year. But that's the only time you've been to the World Series in those 16 years. There's a far cry from 96, 98, 99, 2000. And I think the piling on sometimes is unfair. Because they do every year have a chance to win a championship. But at some point, you have to cash in the chips and win a chip. If the chance is there for 16 straight years, how is it possible that for 16 straight years you haven't done it? And I know the Yankees feel that a chance to win one was taken away in 17 because the Astros cheated. And I'm sure there are innuendos that nobody ever comes out and says about 2019 that it was taken away. Get it, got it. But that doesn't mean you would have won a championship. Would have meant you would have gone to the World Series. And the 17 team was not built to win a championship. They got hot after trades, and they made it work. It was a thrilling ascension to the ALCS. And, yeah, you got cheated out of it by a team that was stealing signs illegally. 16 years is a long time. I'm sure Brian Cashman would admit it's a long time. It really is. Something's got to give. Something has to change, either the way they put the team together or what they accentuate or what they find important when they put the team together. Something. There has to be a tweak in the system because the system is not providing championships in an organization where they're spending enough money to win championships. If they were being cheap, if they were cutting payroll and saying to Brian Cashman, okay, you're going to try to do this with $200 million, then I understand. But that has never been the case. Ever. 320 should be enough to build a championship team, not to be knocked out in the ALDS. And I have no explanation for it. I know you come to me because I've been involved with the Yankees broadcasting their games for 34 years. Well, tell me why. I don't know why. I have no idea why they keep falling short. This team was built to be a champion, and it was good enough to be a champion. And to fall short, that makes it even all the more frustrating. We'll get to you in a moment. You'll join in the conversation. I'm sure you all have a lot to say. The Michael K. Show right here on ESPN New York. For appliances, TVs, electronics, and mattresses, get to PC Richard & Son. Family owned and operated for 116 years.
To help those who want to be helped, but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories, millions of journeys, and behind every one is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take a step forward. Moments in therapy, like the right question, a safe space to cry, or a small win, can change lives. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works. With an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who have helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our fans get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/timeout. That's betterhelp.com/timeout.
Just printed from the Erie Canal Press, the most coveted ticket, New York Lottery's $1 million raffle, hath arrived. 15 fortunate souls shall come into the fortune of a millionaire.
Translation, the $1 million raffle is here, and 15 winners are going to become millionaires. The New York Lottery commemorates 200 years of the Erie Canal with your best odds of winning $1 million. Limited tickets available. Ask your local retailer today. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
Score a win this game day with Amazon Pickup, the MVP of package pickup. Need that new football jersey for the big matchup? With Amazon Pickup, you can collect your order from secure Amazon lockers or counters near you on your schedule. Whether you're running from work or home or straight to the tailgate, Amazon Pickup makes it easy and worry-free at no extra cost. Don't miss kickoff. Grab your gear and your packages when it works for you. Find your nearest Amazon Pickup location at amazon.com/pickupmvp. That's amazon.com/pickupmvp.
Welcome to
Only Murders in the Building,
the official podcast.
Join me, Michael Cyril Creighton, as we go behind the scenes with some of the amazing actors, writers, and crew from Season 5.
The audience should never stop suspecting anything.
How can you not be funny crawling around on a coffin?
No, that's true.
Catch Only Murders in the Building official podcast, premiering September 9th wherever you get your podcasts. And watch Only Murders in the Building, streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply.
A SoFi personal loan is here to help you achieve something once thought impossible, overcoming high-interest credit card debt. Walk the tightrope of your finances with one low, fixed-rate monthly payment, no fees required, and as soon as the same-day funding. That's right. Pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891.
Welcome back. Yankee season is over. Now we talk about it. Let's start off with Bruce in Flushing. Bruce, talk to me.
Here's my humble opinion. Number one, roster construction, as you said. Number two, Hal is not stupid. We both know that. It's one thing to use analytics. The Yankee organization is married to analytics. What happened in the dynasty when Joe Torre saw Cecil Fielder in batting practice and said, okay, I'm going to play him instead of Tino because I like the way he looks in batting practice. That wouldn't happen on this Yankee organization. The only way this can be fixed, and I'm not doing this out of vindictiveness or nastiness, You have to change the thinking in this organization. That means firing Brian Cashman, firing Mike Fishman. You give it to an Omar Minaya and Brian Sabian, who knows you use analytics, when you can, but you also see what's on the field. You use your baseball knowledge. Then maybe we can change what's been happening over the last 16 years.
Well, one thing I would say to you, you say the Yankees are married to analytics. So are the Dodgers. Dave Roberts manages the exact same way as an analytics manager. He does not manage by the gut. He just doesn't. They are scripted and planned, and they're heavily analytic. So I just don't think, I know people want this, but the days of an Omar Minaya or a Brian Sabian running the team like an old-time GM, it's not going to happen because there's value in analytics. I believe there's value in analytics. But I think there's just something off in the formula that is not allowing them to get over the hump. And I'm not buying it's a crapshoot. I think there's something missing in the way the team is being put together. Maybe there's too many strikeouts. Maybe there's a lack of fundamentals. They corrected some of the stuff from last year. Better defense, better base running. All of that was demonstrably better. But still, they fell short. They fell shorter this year than they did last year when they were a bad defense and they didn't run the bases well. So go figure. Let's go to Joe in Washington Heights. Joe.
Hey, Mike. So I want to speak on behalf of myself, really, but I feel like I speak on most Yankee fans' belief in that we really hate losing more than we like winning. I think I've talked about this before, but the championship bust mentality, I totally agree. It's a really bad mindset because it sets the standard for winning, and anything else is a failure, that's the baseline. And when we win, I admit I felt this way in the Red Sox series too. I wasn't super happy that we beat the Red Sox. It was more like, oh, this is a massive sigh of relief that we won. And I just don't think that it's fair to feel that way as Yankees fans. And I think as Joe Torre once said, no one feels sorry for the Yankees. And he understood that you're the team everyone wants to beat. Most fans, they cheer for the joy for victory, and Yankees fans, we just watch for the pain of defeat to be avoided. Winning is expected, and losing is unforgettable.
Well, it's going to be hard to change that narrative, though, Joe. I mean, the patriarch of the franchise in 1973, George Steinbrenner, he started that. Championship or bust, winning is second only to breathing, and it's a close second. That's what he said. And that's been passed down. Now, you have not heard Hal say that, and no one from the Yankee front office has said it, but guys like Jeter picked up on it. Judge has picked up on it. I mean, that's the mindset. Well, if that's the mindset, well, they've missed that mindset for 16 years. They have. So I don't know what to tell you. I understand fans being angry. I don't sit here and begrudge you your disgust. I mean, you invest a lot emotionally. Forget about financially, emotionally following this team. And you expect great things, and you get great things during the regular season, but the ultimate great thing has been elusive in 16 years. That's a long stretch without a championship. I know that sounds silly because, there will be those that defend and say, well, the Mets haven't won in 40 years. Tigers haven't won in a longer stretch. Mariners have never won. I get all of that, but that was not handed down through generations, championship or bust. And, the Mets haven't won since 1986, but they didn't always have the highest payroll when the Wilpons were in charge. They just didn't. Now, the Tigers have always they've been unable to do it since 84. The Mariners have a pretty robust payroll. They've been unable to do it. And Toronto has a pretty high payroll, and they've been unable to do it since 93. I get all that. But the rules of engagement are different here. They just are. And when the owner gives you a payroll that's in the top 2 or 3 every single year, not running into one championship in 16 years is really hard to fathom. And they've come close. And circumstances have conspired against them. But the Astros have won in that time a couple of times. The Red Sox have won 3 times. The Dodgers have won 2 and trying for a 3rd this year. So it can be done. Red Sox have also finished last 5 times in the times that they've won those 4 championships. I get all of that. I've lived it. I've talked about it on the show. I get it. But the 16 really jumps out at you when you consider it's the second longest championship-less streak in the history of this unbelievable franchise. Maybe it was a bad luck omen when they won in 2009 for Joe Girardi to have the hubris to change the number on his back from 27 to 28. So if he had never been fired, just think how long that 28 has been on his back. Maybe that angered the baseball gods. Like we all thought he was going to do that every single year that they kept winning championships. They never won another one. They never won another one. Go to Brian in Fishkill. Brian.
All right, Michael. The irrational Yankee fan in me, which I try not to be, says the Yankees should change their slogan to satisfied with almost since 2010. But the rational side of me is not surprised because going into the playoffs, 19 and 25 against the teams in the tournament, right? Now, the crapshoot thing, I've always wanted to ask Brian if it's valid. If it's a crapshoot, how many times do you roll snake eyes until you walk away from the table and try a new game? And while acknowledging that the analytics do work, okay, what I want to know from you is it a valid question that what championship team in any sport is being one-dimensional a great thing? Have a great day.
Well, I mean, the Dodgers are probably more analytical than the Yankees. So those that invested heavily in analytics, they were the early leaders in the field, and the Yankees were switching to analytics really early, and that's eventually what led to the demise of Girardi, because Girardi would push back on some of the analytics and did not have as warm and fuzzy a relationship with the players as the front office wanted. But when every team is heavily into analytics, and they are, even the teams that don't have a lot of money, they try, then somebody's analytics is going to be better than the other guys. Analytics are not all the same. There's going to be emphasis on certain things in certain organizations that might not be put on other organizations. So it's hard to gauge the analytics and how they work. Who's got the smartest people? I know there's an awful lot of Ivy League graduates in the Yankee front office. A lot of smart people. Same thing with the Dodgers. Same thing with the Mets. Same thing with the Red Sox. All the big money teams heavily into analytics, trying to find an edge. And I think that the one problem overall with analytics, and I've mentioned this before, they work over the long haul because the averages will tell you over 162, this is what's going to happen. That's why the Yankees always make the playoffs. Their analytics work. So I kind of compare it to being at a blackjack table, where if the dealer's showing a 2 and you have a 16, you know what? You don't hit. If the dealer's showing a 2 and you have a 3, you have 13, you don't hit. Because you want the dealer to bust. When he overturns the card and it's a picture card, he's got 12. You want him to take the 10 and bust with 22. And if you sit at the table long enough, you are going to win with that strategy. You just are. Now, we narrow it down to the guy or the gal that sits at the table for a half hour. That might not work. That might not work. You might bust. The dealer will pull a 9. Over the long haul, it works. The shorter haul, it doesn't. That's why I say that smart people have to find a better way to build a better mousetrap. You got to find something that works in the short haul, not only the long haul. Now, if you don't change, then just getting to the playoffs is your aim. And then you'll take your shot that it actually works in the short haul. It hasn't worked in 16 years. It came close to working last year, but it didn't. So unless I know, and I don't know, the mission statement within the organization, like, let's just get to the playoffs and take our chances, then you can say they're ultimately successful. But if you truly want to only win championships, then you can't say it's successful because it's not working in October. It worked from the end of March to the end of September, but it's not working in October. It's like the guy that stands on 12 or 13 when the dealer's showing a 2 or a 3, where the inclination would be every now and then, let me see if I could get the 8 or the 9. But you're not supposed to do that. The analytics tell you you're not supposed to do that. And if you sit at the table long enough, you'll win. But if you sit at the table a half hour, you probably won't. We'll be back.
Is college even worth it these days? At Empire State University, it actually is. They are SUNY's leading online university. Flexible, affordable, and built for real life. With more than 120 degree programs, you can study what matters most to you. And students agree, they're ranked #1 in student satisfaction among SUNY schools. Whether you are finishing what you started or starting fresh, your goals are within reach. See for yourself. Visit sunyempire.edu before the next term begins.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
Sportsbook. Yo, Ballybet stacked for football season. When it comes to sportsbook apps, it's undefeated. Ballybet. Check out that brand new parlay zone. Here's the kickoff. Build your bets and place them right on your phone. What? Live bets, daily boosts, and promos. Increase your odds so you can win more dough. Touchdown! Ballybet's the play. Make game day more fun and download it today. Must be 21 plus, New York only. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Ballybet, Sportsbook and Casino. Download it.
Just printed from the Erie Canal Press, the most coveted ticket, New York Lottery's $1 million raffle, hath arrived. 15 fortunate souls shall come into the fortune of a millionaire.
Translation, the $1 million raffle is here, and 15 winners are going to become millionaires. The New York Lottery commemorates 200 years of the Erie Canal with your best odds of winning $1 million. Limited tickets available. Ask your local retailer today. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
You know so much about who you are. But do you know what makes your body your body? With over 100 lab tests and insights, Function can help you know the truth. Because you know you're made of grit, wit, and a good heart. But just how healthy is that heart? You know you're made up of all the places you've called home. You know you're made of your mom's sarcasm. And now you can find out if you have her thyroid too. You know you're made of college all-nighters and 30s early-nighters, but those still don't explain your sleep issues. You know that you're made up of good meals with even better conversation. But are you actually absorbing those nutrients? A Function membership gives you a comprehensive health check with results tracked over time. Find out what you're made of at functionhealth.com.
Paying extra for tire care is BS. You know, bad service. So at Midas, we're rolling out our BS-free tire guarantee, included with paid installation and tax on every purchase. You'll pay nothing for flat replacements, nada for flat repairs, and zilch for tire rotations every 5,000 miles. That's $0 for all that. So with this limited lifetime tire guarantee, you'll pay a whole lot of nothing compared to what the other guys charge for tire care. That's the BS-free tire guarantee, only at Midas.
Rich Eisen here for Sonos, the speakers that bring every game to life in my own house. With studio quality sound, Sonos makes you feel like you're right there in the stadium. Whether you're cheering on your team, binging your favorite show, or listening to the hottest songs, Sonos fills every room with incredible sound. Setup is easy. Just plug in, open the Sonos app, and you're ready to go. Want stadium quality sound at home just like me? Because I love Sonos. You will too. Explore soundbars, speakers, and more at Sonos.com. Sonos. They look as good as they sound.
From the regular season to the Super Bowl, ESPN New York is your destination for football. We've got crazy fans.
If the Giants somehow beat the Cowboys, I'm going to take a dump on your head.
You can feel good because you're a damn football team. Expert analysis.
Marcus Spears joins us now. ESPN NFL analyst Damian Woody.
Mel Kiper Jr.
The Hall of Famer Steve Young.
He's kind of our resident general manager, Louis Riddick.
We got Mike Tannenbaum right now.
And all your fantasy and wagering needs. This is ESPN New York. We are football.
Well, Game Time brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. And I'll tell you this, everybody. There's no Yankee game tonight. I think you all know that, right? So I don't have to give you that. But I will tell you that 8:15, the Giants host the Eagles at MetLife Stadium for Thursday Night Football. At 7 p.m., the Rangers are in Buffalo to play the Sabres. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. right here on ESPN New York. 7 p.m., the Islanders are in Pittsburgh. 7:30, the Devils are in Carolina. That's an ESPN Plus game. So Dom will not make his debut until Saturday against the Lightning. And at 6 p.m., the NLDS continues with the Dodgers hosting the Phillies. And at 9 p.m., the Cubs host the Brewers. Both games can be heard on 1050 ESPN. Tullamore Dew the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew. Try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. Let's go back to the phones. Ruben in New Haven. Ruben.
Hey, Mike. Good afternoon. I was just, I watched the Yankees play against, obviously we all watch the Yankees, but we're watching them these last couple of years against these opponents in the playoffs, and you notice how the other teams are so fired up to take it to the Yankees, just aggressive, on offense, just charging right at the Yankees, while the Yankees are just kind of waiting for aura and mystique to happen. Fortune favors the bold, right? You got to make your own luck, and aura and mystique isn't just going to show up. It's a lot like watching the World Baseball Classic a couple of years ago when you see the Dominicans and the Puerto Ricans and the South Americans and Japanese playing with such passion, and our guys just seem like they're happy to be there. Everything he said about analytics, the stars have to come through, all that stuff. But it just, Jazz, for heaven's sake, was yawning during the game. Meanwhile,
but Ruben, that makes me laugh. So he yawned, and he hit a home run later on to give them a lead. So what if he yawned? Were they passionate on Tuesday? That is such, to me, that's such nonsense. When you win, you seem like you want it more. When you lose, were they passionate when they were sitting in the clubhouse yesterday crying as a team? Do they care? They desperately want to win. That's the lament of a team that loses. So the Blue Jays are celebrating across the hall in the visitors' clubhouse. So it looks like, well, they wanted it more. The Yankees wanted it just as much as the Blue Jays wanted it. They didn't execute, and they didn't get it done. Doesn't mean that there's no passion, there's no desire. That's when people say, well, the team looked flat. They looked flat because they got 2 hits over 7 innings. That's why they look flat. Did the Yankees look flat when they were losing 6-1 on Tuesday? Yes. Did they look flat when they scored the next 8 runs to win 9-6? No. It's all a product of offense and the outcome. Blue Jays didn't want it more. The Yankees wanted as much as anybody. There's an inherent pressure to those pinstripes. You know you have to win, and they're not winning. You can't tell me that they don't want it. They want it with a white-hot passion. Andrew in Medford. Andrew.
Yeah, hey, Michael.
Hey, Andrew.
How are you? Listen, I want to apologize first because I made that comment a couple weeks ago. Would Boone be fired if they lost to the Red Sox? That was a stupid question, by the way. But I just want to say, Boone's a really good manager because he's ranked 12th with his winning percentage all time on the manager list, and only 18% of managers are considered good or great, according to a Gallup poll with 27 million people involved over the last 2 decades. That means 82% are falling short. So that's huge. I don't think it's a problem with Boone, obviously, but the offense definitely sputters because they're 51-16 when starting pitchers go 6 innings plus, and then they're 46-7 when they allow 2 runs or fewer. The offense really's got to get involved, and my question is, in the offseason now, do you think like Spencer Jones will come up, dependent Bellinger leaves too? And do they go out and get an offensive player? And I remember last year the Yankees were like looking at a raise. I'm just using him as an example. But, because he's so good on getting on base, always 3 batting titles and everything. But his defense is horrible. Now, I wonder this year, did the Yankees lean maybe towards getting a better offensive play and not so defensively?
Yeah, but Andrew, I don't know what to tell you. The Yankees had the best offense in baseball. They scored more runs than anyone per game. It just didn't work in the postseason. So it's not like they lost Juan Soto and decided to ignore the offense and build around the pitching. Bellinger was amazing. Grisham exceeded anybody's expectations, probably his own as well. Despite missing a month and then coming back for a month where he wasn't right, Jazz Chisholm was 31-31. They got so much more production out of first base than they had in the previous 2 years with an injured Anthony Rizzo. Between Goldschmidt and Rice. Hey, the first half team was not a good team. Playing Jazz at third base was not the answer. Trying to squeeze another drop out of DJ LeMahieu was not the answer, but they pivoted. Giving the ball to Marcus Stroman every 5 days was not the answer. But I told you, around the trade deadline, they made the team pretty much complete. Are there issues? Yeah. Not having a right-handed catcher is an issue. You can't have 3 left-handed catchers. It makes no sense. A kid would know that. Now, they might be the 3 best catchers they have, but you got to change. You can't have 3 left-handed catchers. That does not give you the platoon advantage in any game that a lefty starts, ever. And you got to make a decision about Jason Dominguez, too. Is he going to be an everyday player? They gave him a lot of at-bats, but, he's still shaky in the field, and he doesn't hit right-handed. So my advice to the Yankees would be tell Jason Dominguez, play winner ball, and bat right-handed every single game. And take as many fly balls as you can. Because if the kid's going to be the future, he cannot be that bad in left field. And you could tell me, well, he's a lot better than he used to be. Yeah, he's still bad, though. Every ball out there is an adventure. And you can't be an automatic out against a left-handed pitcher. Otherwise, if he's a switch hitter and he can't hit right-handed, you know what? Then make him hit left-handed all the time. Because you can't have an automatic out. So there's things that have to change. There's going to be some heavy lifting in putting this 2026 team together because it's going to be completely different than this one. Going to shift gears for a moment. Chris Sims joins us to talk some Giants-Eagles and some of the big storylines in the NFL over the last week. So stay tuned for that. Then we'll get right back to your calls. Hey, getting the right mattress helps you sleep at night. Getting the right price helps you sleep even better. At PC Richard & Son, they don't just sell you a mattress. Their experts use a 4-step fitting process to make sure your new bed fits you perfectly. The right fit, the right price, plus free delivery. It's what they do. Only at PC Richard & Son. Free delivery on mattresses $199 and up. Excludes Manhattan. See stores for details.
To help those who want to be helped, but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
880 ESPN, WHSQ, and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station.
The Fox Nation Patriot Awards returns for a new year.
Are you ready to get the show started?
Join host Sean Hannity and special guests and be part of the celebration live in New York. Tickets are available now. Go to foxnation.com/Patriot Awards.
Honey, this is it. Shot clock winding down. Trailing by 2.
When you can't miss the last shot, and neither can he, don't take slow for an answer.
Pastrello shoots. Good to see it, Charlie.
Switch to Optimum Fiber, the fastest and most reliable fiber internet, starting at just $40 a month. Call 888-4OPTIMUM or visit Optimum.com today.
What went through your head on the last shot? It all happened so fast.
Optimum. Don't take slow for an answer. Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details.
The Association on Aging in New York is celebrating the 60th anniversary of the Older Americans Act, which funds vital programs for millions of older adults. Services include meals, transportation, home care, Medicare counseling, case management, and caregiver support. Today, people are uncertain whether some programs remain available. We can help. To learn more about these essential programs and how to keep them, visit our website at agingny.org. Sponsored by the Association on Aging in New York.
You know so much about who you are. But do you know what makes your body your body? With over 100 lab tests and insights, Function can help you know the truth. Because you know you're made of grit, wit, and a good heart. But just how healthy is that heart? You know you're made up of all the places you've called home. You know you're made of your mom's sarcasm. And now you can find out if you have her thyroid too. You know you're made of college all-nighters and 30s early-nighters, but those still don't explain your sleep issues. You know that you're made up of good meals with even better conversation. But are you actually absorbing those nutrients? A Function membership gives you a comprehensive health check with results tracked over time. Find out what you're made of at functionhealth.com.
Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the weather first, before wearing face paint to the game.
Bro, your Go Cats is dripping into your nachos.
Oh, and now paint is in my eyes.
Interception! Did you see that?
No!
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first and see what you could save. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Potential savings vary, including based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. So we've been doing the post-mortem on the Yankee season ending, but there's a football game tonight as the Giants will be playing the Eagles, trying to come back from a dispiriting loss to the Saints. But I will tell you this, our guest, who we talk to at 2 o'clock on Thursday all the time, Chris Sims, he called that loss. Everybody thought that it was an easy walkover win for the Giants, and there was something about the matchup he didn't like, and he thought that the Saints were going to win. And Chris joins us now. Chris, did it play out the way you thought?
Not exactly. I won't say that. You know, I mean, to some degree, yes. But, like, did the Giants play the run a little bit better of the New Orleans Saints? Certainly did that. The Giants even moved the ball better against the Saints than I expected. So, yeah, you lose the game, definitely. But I think there are encouraging signs about what we're seeing from the football team and all that. And, you know, we got to expect it to hit some bumps in the road every now and then with a young quarterback and a bunch of other young guys helping out on the team.
Do you think that Dart took a step back? Because, again, fumbling without being touched, the 2 interceptions, or is that just part of the growth of a young quarterback?
I look at it more like that. You know, I look at it, you know, like last week you asked me what's different about the offense, right? And I said, let me just see another game first and all that. And there's encouraging signs with the offense. They're definitely more capable of being the word I always use is surgical with Jackson Dart, right? There is more of a short and intermediate passing game as compared to what there was for Russell Wilson. I think he's helped out the run game, not only because he can run, but because teams are having to defend. Ooh, wait, he might keep the ball on some of these read options. And, of course, that gives the Giants advantage. He's very good in the RPO game. So all of those, the offense is moving in a good direction here. But, yeah, to your point there, we're going to have some moments like that. And just hopefully tonight we don't have too many of them, and I think they can make the game competitive. As we've seen with the Eagles, they have a hard time really dominating anybody with the way they play on the offensive side of the ball.
Now, do they just choose to play like that, or are they playing that way because they don't think the quarterback could do more?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's both with that, right? I've watched Nick Sirianni's offense before Jalen Hurts, and this wasn't it. He had a lot more to his offense. He didn't get the Philadelphia job because they were like, wait, you have 12 plays in the pass game and 3 plays in the run game. Yeah, we want to hire you. No, I get a little exhausted by this conversation. They're handcuffed by the quarterback. The quarterback is holding the team hostage. He won't let them do anything on the offensive side of the ball. They're very simple that way, and that's the way he wants it. Now, and then within that, yeah, that's not conducive to good offensive play. I mean, their offense, it's a superstar offense. It's an all-star team. It really is. It's the best O-line in football, the running back, the 2 receivers, the tight end's really good, right? But they don't line up in very many formations. They do no motions or shifts before the snap. The quarterback doesn't do very much at the line of scrimmage. And all because of that, good defenses can kind of figure out how to stop them schematically. It's just, can you physically stop them? Because they're that good to where even what they're going to do, they can still do it at times.
So does that fall on the heading? I mean, this is a phrase that's used a lot, certainly not when it pertains to this, but is it golden handcuffs where, okay, Hurts is certainly limited in what he could do and what he allows the Eagles to do, but all they do is keep winning, so why would they change?
Yeah, that's right. They're not going to change. But what you worry about is it becomes what it was 2 years ago, that there's dysfunction in the locker room. Everybody wants to know what's going on outside the team. The team and everybody in the locker room, the coaches know what's going on. They're going, it's kind of the quarterback, but they're not allowed to say it. People like me, when I say it, I get lambasted by the Eagle fan base and then also get thrown in as a racist, which I want to go, are you kidding me? So with all of that stuff, they have to make excuses all the time and all that to cover for their quarterback. And that's why they're frustrated. That's what it is. People ask everyone, what's wrong with the offense? And they all want to look at the camera and go, our quarterback's the problem, but we can't do anything about it. And they're good enough, though, to your point, where they can run the ball, they can chew up some clock. If you play man-to-man, they're going to throw a slant or a go route, and he's good at throwing those routes. But, basically, if they don't turn the ball over, they're tough to beat. But what you worry about is what happened 2 years ago, that all this stuff goes on, and then all of a sudden it starts to become dysfunctional. The offense doesn't play very well, and all of a sudden they lose their last 5 or 6 games of the year. So we'll see where this goes, but I do feel like it's teetering a little bit in Philadelphia as compared to last year, where I was very confident in everything they were doing as a football team on the offensive side of the ball.
Now, it seems like Barkley is not as good as he was last year. Is it because people are selling out for the run because they don't think they're going to get beaten deep by Hurts, or is it just unrealistic to expect a guy to be that great 2 years in a row?
Well, I think, it's hard to do that 2 years in a row. They are a team, if you listen to my podcasts and things like this, where I said the Eagles are late to adjust. They don't do much at the line of scrimmage, like I just told you. So, it's what they've done is they've played some defenses like last week, where the Broncos loaded the line of scrimmage and were like, look, we're going to stop the run. And as a play caller, or if they're in the huddle, there's a run call and a pass call called in the huddle, you're going to see that and go, oh, man, there's 8 guys at the line of scrimmage. We got to check to the pass. Denver did that consistently all game, but when there was 8 guys at the line of scrimmage and Jalen Hurts said set hut, it went into pass coverage. And there they had no answers. They need to be a little bit more, I think, stubborn with the run game. But, again, even with the run game and how simple they are formation-wise, people, especially good defenses, go, wait, we feel like we can load the box and stop Saquon Barkley. And because they're so simple in the pass game, we feel like we can figure out some schemes to play run defense and still stop some of the pass game stuff as well. And that's where they've been in a little bit of a bind lately. And they've played some good defenses, so I got to certainly say that. That's the truth, too.
All right, Coach. So can you paint a scenario, Chris, to make Giant fans feel good about things, that they have a chance tonight? What would be the scenario where they beat the Eagles?
Well, I think the scenario is we continue to see what we see on the offensive side of the ball, like on a lot of the good drives. Let's think about it. We ran the ball okay. A lot of intermediate passes where you're like, okay, I like that. Way to go, Jackson Dart. Few scrambles here and there. We got to hope that their offense is still not being able to figure some things out that way. And then if we can just get one lucky bounce of the ball, one turnover, they make one lapse and, a mental lapse or a mistake that way. I think we can hang in there and certainly be competitive no matter what. But yes, I would say to win the game, it'll probably take the Eagles having to mess up once or twice to open that door open for the Giants to steal the game. Even if that doesn't happen, I think the Giants can stay close and be a pain in the butt for the Eagles all night long.
Talking with Chris Sims of NBC, both pro football and college football. He has his own podcast, which is tremendous, and he joins us every Thursday at this point. All right, so let's shift to the Jets for a minute. Aaron Glenn, if he was a political candidate, his stump speech was about discipline, cutting down on penalties. Well, he got elected, and elected is getting hired as a Jet coach, and he has not come through on any of the promises. In fact, the penalties are as blatant as they were last year. Is it simply because there's no talent on the team, or is something not connecting with the players?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both there too, right? It's a talent. It's got talent, but it's talent, especially on the defensive side, that was meant to play in that Seattle scheme with Robert Saleh, right? So there's a difference in philosophy there as far as those defenses typically are smaller, faster, chaos creators that way. Aaron Glenn, I think, wants to run more of, what we're accustomed to with Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick and that type. They want really big people up front that can two-gap and basically make the run game like a mosh pit in the middle of the field there. And then they're going to be kind of creative in their coverages in the back end and take a few chances. I don't think they totally have that formula mastered right yet. They're playing in a more aggressive style of defense. I think the players are probably getting used to that a little bit. That's leading to penalties. And then the offensive side of the ball, what I'll say, again, the same thing we kind of said last week, the game seems to have to fall a certain way. And, yeah, they showed the ability to move the ball and run, but it's 2 weeks in a row. The running back fumbles going into the end zone, basically inside the 10-yard line. And those are mistakes that, they can't make. They can't overcome them. Their defense isn't playing at a high enough level. And as we know, the quarterback and the passing game just are not good enough in the competitive part of the football game to keep them in it either. So it's a little bit of all of it right now there with the Jets. And, man, this is not going to be an easy game for them this week over in London.
All right, I asked you about the Giants. Can you paint a scenario where they can beat the Broncos in London?
Man, I mean, the Broncos would really have to pee down their leg, Michael. I mean, that's it. For lack, I want to say more colorful stuff than that, but I know we're on radio.
Right.
If you were on my podcast, I might say a whole bunch of curse words. But, yeah, I don't see it. Because I think the Broncos and what they did last week, the Broncos can easily be 5-0. Last week was the first time they trailed in the fourth quarter all season. They lost the Colts and the Chargers in walk-off game time, clock expiring field goals. I think last week is going to be the jump off of the Broncos of like, whoa, it's official. We are good. We believe in ourselves. Man, our quarterback brought us behind on the road in Philly, and we came back and beat them. So I expect them to kind of be hitting on all cylinders this week. Yeah, I think the Broncos kind of dominate this one. I picked the 28-13 Broncos.
All right, so when the Jets head back to the States, they're probably going to be 0-6. So,
yes.
I mean, when does the message not even sink through? I mean, if there's no positives from the message, are players going to start tuning out that coaching staff?
Well, you worry about that, and that's where Aaron Glenn's personal skills are going to come into play, right? And he's still got to continue to make them believe that there's a process here and we're going in the right direction. Now, the week after the Broncos is the Panthers and the Bengals. So you certainly look at that to go, hey, those are two teams we got the capabilities to beat. But from like everything you've said, they got to stop some of these self-inflicting turnovers, penalties, mental mistakes, all of that. They're just not good enough to overcome any of that stuff. You hope some of the leaders in the locker room can kind of keep them to stay the course as they go here. But, yeah, it's going to be tough. There's no doubt about that.
All right, Chris, Joe Flacco continues to get jobs. He's now traded to the Bengals as they look for something to get them to maybe the unlikely return of Joe Burrow this year. Are you starting to think, I could still throw the ball?
Well, yeah, right. I can still throw the ball. I just would have to be like, please don't hit me. Don't hit me. Don't hit me. I can't take that. I don't know if I'll be able to get up. My back will get hurt, right? But, I mean, I have so much respect for Joe Flacco. One, to check his ego at the door and be a backup quarterback after the great career he had and all that, it's amazing. I would say, though, but what does this really fix for Cincinnati? I mean, Jake Browning turns the ball over. So does Joe Flacco. That was my point in starting Dylan Gabriel with the Cleveland Browns. If we're going to have a veteran quarterback that turns the ball over, we might as well try the rookie quarterback and see if he can play well. And, he's going to turn the ball over too because he's a rookie. But to me, it's a little bit of a desperation move from Cincinnati. You've heard me say, it started off as, hey, we kind of going to have an excuse of not being as good because Joe Burrow's there. But now Joe Burrow's hurt, But now it's turned to, does anybody in that organization, do they do anything to help this team? Or is it just all Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Chase Higgins? And I think that the Bengals got to be worried about too, because we know Joe Burrow ain't afraid to speak his mind. He's sitting at home right now going, are you kidding me? Are we really this bad? Is this, do I cover this many holes? I mean, I think they have gotten to a point where GM Duke Tobin, Zach Taylor are probably a little worried about their job. They've been outplayed in every game this year, even the ones they won. So, this is going to be interesting to see what happens there. But I think they're going to get their butts kicked up in Green Bay this week.
All right, so I've always looked at Trevor Lawrence when he was in college. I said, well, that translates into a really good NFL quarterback. Does he finally have the coach that's going to get it out of him?
I think so. I do. He's still, as you could see the other night, he's still working out. He makes a dumb 2 or 3 plays every game. His physical attributes are undeniable. He's big as hell. He's fast as hell. You could see he's got an extremely strong arm, right? He's getting almost like Caleb Williams in Chicago under Ben Johnson. Trevor Lawrence was part of 2 coaching regimes that were like, oh, we're just so happy to have you. Yeah, Michael Kay said you'd be awesome coming out of Clemson, and see, we're just happy to have you, right? It just was always a bed of roses. Liam Cohn's like, what? I've been around some big-time offenses, and it's the first time in his career he's got an offensive coach who's a genius, who's applying the hot poker right next to his butt all the time. Yeah, you did good, but you can do better. Keep pushing, keep pushing. And I felt like that was the most gritty willingness type of win I ever saw Trevor Lawrence have. Like, it's almost like that quarterback sneak at the goal line when he fumbled. He realized, like, oh no, I'm going to become a meme, and I'm going to become, should they have drafted me number 1? And it wasn't perfect, but man, he made a lot of plays. And anybody that's been listening to my pod, I've been saying the Jags are real, and this ain't going away. They got talent, and they got a system on both sides. They're just young and learning how to win. And that's another team, like I talked about with the Broncos, where I'd go, they beat the Chiefs last week, and I think it's just going to make them believe in themselves even more that they're the real deal.
All right, so I'm a little bitter about this because I lost both of my survivor pools because the Cardinals blew that game. How is it possible, right, Chris? How is it possible that a running back, and players continue to do this, drop the ball before the goal line? How is it possible that it doesn't sink in to every player's head? I can't do this.
I know. I don't know. And, again, it's sometimes it's not like it's showboating. It's just like you're excited, you're getting close to the end zone, and there's a lapse of judgment. Good coaches, I would tell you, right? When I played for John Gruden, Josh McDaniels in Denver, Those are the kind of plays they might show you in the Wednesday morning meeting, right? The team meeting, to go like, hey, here's some good things that happened in football this week. Here's some dumb things that happened. Let's not be one of these dumb people or dumb teams and do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, so that it was unfortunate, and I don't have an answer for you there. But that's where really good coaches show those things to their team to teach them off of that. Now,
also,
go ahead.
The thing that I want to get into is like, so Jonathan Gannon, the coach, really blast him on the field. And now he probably made contact with him, which you shouldn't do. But then he comes back the next day, I couldn't sleep. And it just shows you the difference between coaches then and now. You can't yell at players. They get their feelings hurt. So if Jonathan Gannon can't get in the guy's face, how do you stop a guy from doing that?
I get you. Well, so here, there's a magic touch there, certainly. The first thing I want to say is, are we sure he fumbled the ball before the end zone? Like, I thought he was called a touchdown on the field. I thought the NFL was all about conclusive evidence. I have not seen an angle yet that's right down the line. Did he start the act of celebrating too early, maybe before he got in the end zone? Sure. But from every angle I've looked at, I think he's got control of the ball still as he's going over the goal line. So I'd like to throw the challenge flag at the NFL. Show me the picture that was conclusive that showed me he fumbled the ball before the end zone. So that's just the first thing I throw out there. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, yes, really good coaches have the balance of being able to get in a player's face and say things and yell a little bit and demand more. I think this is one where this is a good guy who's a Johnny try-hard for his football team. He's got an offensive lineman with his arm around him because he's obviously down about the moment. He's got another offensive lineman right there patting him to be like, hey, man, it's okay, keep fighting, right? And that's where – yeah, you got to have a little bit, read the room here and go, maybe this isn't the time for me to eviscerate this guy. Now, I'm old school. Yeah, I grew up in North Jersey. Mike Miello, he'd grab me by the face mask and call me an idiot and do all that, and I wish we could still do that. I love that. It's from the Vince Lombardi School of Coaching. Sure. But I would also tell you, Vince Lombardi in 1962 wouldn't have put his hands on a player. So that's, to me, where he crosses the line. And, like, the locker room's going to be a little bit like, man, that was messed up. I think that went too far. Hopefully his apology, hits home with the guys there in Arizona.
But I do shake my head, Chris, and I've seen the NFL films of it. Bill Parcells, what he did to your father would not be allowed now. Your dad could go to HR.
No, I hear you. You're right. And that's where it is different. And I hate that too. And that's why I think New England was so good forever, because Bill Belichick could go over to Tom Brady and do that. And the team would be like, damn, he's holding Brady accountable. I better be accountable too. I think Andy Reid secretly has that Midas touch a little bit. I think Kyle Shanahan and McVay have that ability a little bit. So you can still yell at guys, but you got to make sure you're just not yelling at them to yell at them sometimes, right? They got to know you still love them and respect them and you want the good for them. And to me, Nick Sirianni has that. He can get on his guys a little bit, but they know he's in the fight with them. And I think that's where, you gotta know your relationship with your locker room and your team that way a little bit to dance that fine line.
All right, so you're reading my mind, because the final thing I wanted to talk to you about was what is turning into an epic fail for Bill Belichick in North Carolina. We had Paul Feinbaum on Tuesday, and he said that Belichick in college football is a laughingstock. Did you think it was going to go this poorly, Chris?
I did not this poorly. No, I always questioned, like, is Bill going to be able to recruit, young kids? Is Bill going to be able to deal with Johnny's mom, who's mad, and Johnny's dad, who's mad that he's not playing well? Those are things I questioned. I always questioned, can Bill Belichick's real genius even be shown in college football? Because there's just not enough time. These are young football players who don't – it's not like they've been in the NFL for a while and been in different schemes. So Bill's creativity as a coach is almost handcuffed in college football because of the rules. And, of course, the players aren't, as mature schematically as the NFL players. So I always wondered that. Bill was famous even in New England, Michael, for, like, if they messed up cover 2 in training camp, they'd play cover 2 every snap the preseason game. They did this against me one year in Tampa when I was there. They messed up Tampa 2 the week before. They played Tampa 2 every snap the whole game. We got to the 1 yard line. They played Tampa 2 still. So he's one of those guys, too, where if he doesn't feel like you fix things, he's not going to add more creative things onto the offense or defense. So, yeah, I'm a little surprised that it's been this bad. But, I'm not going to totally judge it yet. They're trying to be young and start something new here, and I do think there are some smart people that can get things on the right track down there in North Carolina in that regime.
All right, so how do people get your podcast? Let's get a little plug in.
Okay, I like Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Wherever you find podcasts, right? You can go and watch me on the NBC Sports YouTube page. That's there, too. You'll see a big football logo as a head with a, shirt buttoned to the top like I do. And that's Chris Sims Unbuttoned. But, you can find that anywhere you find your podcasts.
Well, we love having you on every Thursday. Thanks so much, Chris.
Oh, you're the man, Michael. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
You be well. That is Chris Sims. We talk to him every Thursday at 2 o'clock. Great stuff. I mean, he articulates the stuff that all of us can understand. I think that's so cool. All right, so we go back to the Yankees season ending yesterday. What comes next? Who's to blame? All of that is on the table. I want to talk to you as well. 1-800-919-3776. Hope you're watching on our YouTube channel. All you have to do is go to the ESPN New York page and then click on the YouTube page and subscribe. It's free. And then you can see me. And you can see Don Hahn and Rosenberg. And you can see DiPietro and Rothenberg. And Bart and Carlin. You can see all of us. And you can hear us right here on ESPN New York.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories, millions of journeys, and behind every one is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take a step forward. Moments in therapy, like the right question, a safe space to cry, or a small win can change lives. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works. With an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who have helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our fans get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/timeout. That's BetterHelp.com/timeout.
Okay, girls, ready to go?
Yeah! Mom, I'm hungry. Can I have a snack? Me too, Mommy.
You want a snack?
Yeah.
Got it?
Children learn from our behaviors.
Mommy, can you open this,
All right,
please?
hold on 1 second. Okay. Okay, here.
Thank you.
They learn what is okay from the adults they see.
Mommy, are you on your phone?
If you're a distracted driver, chances are they will be too. What kind of driver are you raising? Funded by the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
Ballybet Sportsbook. Yo, Ballybet stacked for football season. When it comes to sportsbook apps, it's undefeated. Ballybet. Check out that brand new parlay zone. Here's the kickoff. Build your bets and place them right on your phone. What? Live bets, daily boosts, and promos. Increase your odds so you can win more dough. Touchdown! Ballybet's the play. Make game day more fun and download it today. Must be 21 plus, New York only. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Ballybet Sportsbook and Casino. Download it.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
Just printed from the Erie Canal Press, the most coveted ticket, New York Lottery's $1 million raffle, hath arrived. 15 fortunate souls shall come into the fortune of a millionaire.
Translation, the $1 million raffle is here, and 15 winners are going to become millionaires. The New York Lottery commemorates 200 years of the Erie Canal with your best odds of winning $1 million. Limited tickets available. Ask your local retailer today. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather. new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends, Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Score a win this game day with Amazon Pickup, the MVP of package pickup. Need that new football jersey for the big matchup? With Amazon Pickup, you can collect your order from secure Amazon lockers or counters near you on your schedule. Whether you're running from work or home or straight to the tailgate, Amazon Pickup makes it easy and worry-free at no extra cost. Don't miss kickoff. Grab your gear and your packages when it works for you. Find your nearest Amazon Pickup location at amazon.com/pickupmvp. That's amazon.com/pickupmvp.
Do you have trouble getting in and out of the bathtub? Are you afraid you'll slip and fall entering or exiting a tub? SafeStep walk-in tubs can transform your bathtub from an area of concern to a calming refuge. Call them today at 1-800-731-4558 and save $1,600. SafeStep walk-in tubs and showers are proudly made in Tennessee and offer an ultra-low step-in, avoiding that difficult climb over a traditional bathtub wall. They also offer a variety of therapeutic benefits that may help soothe your aching muscles and joints, increasing your mobility, boosting your energy, and improving your sleep. SafeStep walk-in tubs are designed to easily fit your existing tub space and are often installed in as little as one day. Just dial 1-800-731-4558 today to save $1,600 and receive a free shower package. That's 1-800-731-4558 for a free no-obligation consultation and to save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs. Safety never felt so good.
All right, welcome back to the show. A little detour for football with the Giants and the Eagles tonight. And then the Jets against the Broncos at 9:30 from London on Sunday. So New York football fans could get rid of bad football by the time the 1 o'clock games start on Sunday. It's been that bad. Giants with one win, the Jets with no wins. Kind of amazing. 1-800-919-3776. The baseball season's over. Yankees lost 5-2 to Toronto yesterday to lose the ALDS. And Toronto fans have been coming at me because in July – when they, were hanging on the rim after taking that 4-game set against the Yankees, and then Jamie Campbell on TSN took out a broom and everything, and I went on Yes, and I said, you don't celebrate, you don't hang on the rim in July, you hang on the rim in October. And so they hit me back with, well, can we hang on the rim now? And I'll look right into the camera and go, you are allowed to hang on the rim now. Now's the time you hang on the rim. You still have unfinished business. You want to get to the World Series, but you beat the Yankees. You beat them in the ALDS, so you're allowed to hang on the rim. It's much different than sweeping 4 games in July. Well, that turned your season around and knocked the Yankees out of first place for good, but still it was a little early to celebrate. You can celebrate now. You could most certainly celebrate now. You have earned that right. Now, I take that from the Toronto fans because, they beat the Yankees. What I don't get is the euphoric bashing of the Yankees by the Red Sox fans and the Met fans. I mean, the Red Sox season ended at the hands of the Yankees. And so what they keep giving you is, well, you won one more game. You got eliminated by the Yankees. So it's hard for you to say that the Yankees failed to such an extent that you can laugh about it when you failed to a bigger extent. And then there was a Met fan that sent me a tweet on X after the Yankees lost. At least they waited till after the Yankees lost. And this genius said, I guess plan B didn't work out, did it? Well, how'd your plan A work out? That would be my answer to you. Your plan A, you got one of the transcendent hitters in the history of baseball, and you didn't make the playoffs. And you're going to hang on the rim about the Yankees getting knocked out in the second round? So they pivoted from losing the great Juan Soto, which hurt because they obviously wanted to keep him, and they had the best record in the American League, tied with the Blue Jays, and then they got knocked out in the division series. So how could you, gloat about plan B not working when your plan A failed miserably? Miserably. You didn't make the playoffs. You lost to the Reds, and you're going to hang on the rim? And I keep seeing all the Cancun memes and all that. Well, the Yankees are heading to Cancun. Well, you know what? Well, the Mets are probably going to greet them there because they've been there for over a week. They could tell them all the hot spots to go to. I mean, really, Blue Jay fans could celebrate. They've earned that right. But the Red Sox fans and the Met fans, They're gloating when their team didn't get this far? I don't know. That's a strange tack that you're taking. Really. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how that works out. It's not. You look like a fool. Guess your plan B didn't work when your plan A failed spectacularly. It's funny that you send this stuff out. Do you even think about how dumb you could look? You're going to mock plan B when plan A failed? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Let's go to Tom in Huntington. Tom, you've been hanging on a while. Thank you.
Michael, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, we met years ago down at Yankee Fantasy Camp. I participated in about 10 of them. You were very cordial. You were a gentleman. We had some great conversation down there, so I appreciate it.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you had a good time.
Really did. Michael, the question I have to you, if I heard you say it once, I've heard you say it 100 times, the Yankees are built on hitting home runs, and I'm trying to understand what that philosophy is about. You know, you said in the beginning of the show, people are going to call for firings. I'm not calling for a firing so much. I'm really calling for a change of philosophy, and I'm trying to understand why this all or nothing is just ingrained in the Yankees psyche, and that they just refuse to waver from that thought process. I mean, Aaron Judge, take Aaron Judge. I mean, granted, he's a phenom. I mean, this guy is a power hitter, but when he misses, I mean, he goes through a funk every once in a while where he expands the zone and he'll strike out here and there, or he'll have a run of strikeouts. But for the most part, if he misses, he at least puts the ball in play. And that's what the Yankees just don't do. You know, take Austin Wells. I mean, you look at his swing. It's a repetitive plane that he swings in. If the ball doesn't go to where he's swinging, it's a miss. He just seems like he has no control at the plate, no thought process as far as situational hitting goes. You know, and I can even go back to other examples, but it just seems when the Yankees have to cut their swing down and just put the ball in play, they just don't have that ingrained in them. And I just think that philosophy as far as Volpe goes, and I don't want to digress, but they've ruined this kid. I mean, this kid thinks that he's got to hit for power. He's got a very long swing. I think that's why he swings and misses so much. And he just is insistent on trying to pull an outside pitch, which you and I both know is going to lead to a weak ground ball or a soft pop-up somewhere. So it's the situational hitting and the lack of them putting the ball in play that I don't understand. And look, you can have a bunch of home run hitters in the lineup, but sprinkle in some guys that can just make contact with the ball, and that makes your power hitters, I think, a lot more effective. Well, I don't know if you agree with that or you disagree with that.
Listen, I think the way to win in baseball, is to hit home runs, because the Dodgers are the reigning champions and they were number 2 in baseball in hitting home runs. And I believe that home runs are the way to go, and the statistics will back it up. You know, the teams that win the World Series hit more home runs, and a higher percentage of runs get scored in the postseason via the home run than anything else, higher than in the regular season. But I would agree that they should have people that put the ball in play. You could try for your home runs with 2 outs. I think the perfect example of the players that they should be looking to get is Cody Bellinger. 29 home runs. His first 2 strikes, he's wailing and bailing. And then he shortens up and has a 2-strike approach. And I remember what the Hall of Famer CC Sabathia said when he joined us in the booth one time this year. He said, I'd love to pitch now because no one has a 2-strike approach. And he's right. So you're asking them to change philosophy. They're never going to move away from the importance of hitting home runs, because I agree with them. It's important to hit home runs. But you have to have some diversity in the lineup. I mean, the Dodgers do put the ball in play. And they hit a lot of home runs. And the Yankees put the ball. It's hard to argue with the Yankee offense, though, because they scored more than anybody else. And that's the point, right? But they did not score at that rate in the postseason. And you could say, well, they faced great pitching. No. In this postseason, they faced one great pitcher. One. Garrett Crochet. Other ones were good. Bayo, they got to him, but not to an extent that they destroyed him. Cora took him out early. The kid early was pretty good. The Yankees didn't have much success against him, but the Red Sox defense betrayed him. Now, Kevin Gausman is a nice workman-like pitcher. He's their number one pitcher. He's not great by any stretch of the imagination. And we don't know what Savage is going to be, but he was unbelievable against the Yankees, and then they failed against the bullpen game. So, yeah, the home runs work in the regular season, and I think they do work in the postseason. But for some reason, when the Yankees don't hit, they hit home runs on Tuesday, and they won. They hit one home run yesterday, a solo shot by Ryan McMahon, and they lost. So that's their formula. So whether or not they're willing to tweak it or not, I'm not sure. Are they going to be self-reflective and sit back and go, what's not working here? We've got to stop the randomness of the postseason where we say it's a crapshoot. We have to stop. We've got to make it less of a crapshoot. Let's go to Ron in Edgewater. Ron.
Hey, good afternoon, Michael. How are you?
Good, Ron. How you doing?
Good. So just to kind of piggyback off that point, this is perfect. So I'm an analytical guy. I do analytics now, albeit baseball analytics, apples and wrenches to what I do, but just high-level view, right? In the history of baseball, there's been 5 teams, one in the dead ball era, that have won a World Series without at least 2 players batting at or above 280. Last time that happened was 1988 with the Dodgers. Another thing, there's only been one team that has struck out 1,400 or more times and won the World Series, and that was the 2023 Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
So the home runs are definitely important. There's no denying that. But what's interesting is, it was said multiple times by Yankee front office, if they out-homer their opponent, they win about 70% of the time.
If they hit 2 or more
7
home
games,
runs, yeah.
2 or more, sorry. Okay, so, but if they out-homer their opponent, that happened 3 games and out of 7 this postseason, the record's 1-2. So.
Well, their pitching was bad.
There's no denying that. But the situational hitting and having guys like, Ernie Clement on the Blue Jays are a perfect example. He's just, this year at least, he's been a pro hitter. He knows how to put the ball in play.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole series, he was getting on base. And I think there's an intangible when a batter gets a base hit as opposed to walking. Now, some places may view that as the same, but it's not. I feel like if you're getting hit as a pitcher and running again on base, it's definitely in your psyche that, hey, they're on my pitches and they can hit me. And I think that changes the approach. So, I'm hoping the Yankees can get a little more bat on ball this offseason.
Well, I mean, everything you say is based in fact, except for the fact that you can't really hit me with the batting average thing. When Major League Baseball, the collective batting average is at one of the lowest it's ever been. Like going back to 1968 when they had to change the rules. So, I mean, you could see that's the way the sport is now. They don't really fixate on batting average. They fixate more on slugging. And the Yankees had one batter that hit over 300. He won the batting title. And that's Aaron Judge. And teams do strike out an awful lot. The Yankees have a lot of strikeouts in that lineup. They do. Judge strikes out a lot, but he's allowed to. With 53 home runs, he can strike out. Stanton strikes out a lot, but he's allowed to because it's a lot of home runs. Anthony Volpe should not be striking out that much. He just shouldn't. And I said this in the first hour of the show. That's going to be one of their big decisions during the offseason. Are they going to go for year 4 of Anthony Volpe and expect something to change? Because he's never been a high average hitter, and with his speed, he has to get on base more than he does. I don't know if you completely ditch the home run, but I'd much rather have Anthony Volpe hit 280 with, 12, 13, 14 home runs than have Anthony Volpe hit 207 and somehow collect 22 home runs. It makes no sense to me. And, the people will argue back at me. Boone would argue, yeah, but the production's there. It wasn't in the postseason, was it? And there were stretches of time when the production was non-existent. Because if you go back, Anthony had like 70 RBIs, maybe close to the beginning of August. Then he disappeared. The lows are too long and too low. It's got to change. I think he could do the job at shortstop. I think he went through a defensive slump this year. But in the month of September, even in the postseason, I thought he fielded quite well. But he can't survive hitting this way. He can't. I'll give you the numbers again. I gave it at the beginning of the show. He was 1 for 15 in a series with 11 strikeouts. That's an empty at-bat. And for the postseason, 26 at-bats, 16 strikeouts. And he had 1 home run. If you're going to strike out that much, you're going to have to hit a lot more home runs than 1. Because the only way you accept the strikeouts is if it's accompanied by a lot of home runs. 19 home runs on the season, not a lot. Not to warrant all those strikeouts, all that swing and miss, because it's a dead spot in the order, at the end of the order. And if you're going to come back with him again next year, hey, as great as Ryan McMahon is as a third baseman, he's never going to be a great hitter. He was never a great hitter in Colorado. So do you want a dead part of the order with Volpe and McMahon to make it easier for a pitcher to have to only face 7 batters instead of 9? These are decisions the front office has to make. We'll come back. We'll wrap this up, take more of your phone calls, lead you right into Don Hahn and Rosenberg right here on ESPN New York.
To help those who want to be helped but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
Getting the right mattress helps you sleep at night. Getting the right price helps you sleep even better. At PC Richard & Son, we don't just sell you a mattress. Our experts use a 4-step fitting process to make sure your new bed fits you perfectly. The right fit, the right price, plus free delivery. It's kind of our thing. During our 116th birthday sale, get up to $1,000 in additional savings when you combine purchases of select appliances, mattresses, and TVs. Only at PC Richard & Son. Free delivery on mattresses $199 and up. Excludes Manhattan.
Make cancer screening a part of your annual healthcare routine. New York Presbyterian offers a full range of cancer screenings, including lung, cervical, prostate, colorectal, breast, and more. Regular cancer screenings could save your life by detecting cancer at its earliest, most treatable stages. Screenings are available across New York City and Westchester. Learn more at nyp.org/cancer screening. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian.
Honey, this is it.
Shot clock winding down. Trailing by 2.
When you can't miss the last shot, and neither can he, don't take slow for an answer.
Pipistrello shoots. Good to see it, Charlie.
Switch to Optimum Fiber, the fastest and most reliable fiber internet, starting at just $40 a month. Call 888-4OPTIMUM or visit Optimum.com today.
What went through your head on the last shot?
It all happened so fast.
Optimum. Don't take slow for an answer. Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Sponsored by the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Just printed from the Erie Canal Press, the most coveted ticket, New York Lottery's $1 million raffle, hath arrived. 15 fortunate souls shall come into the fortune of a millionaire.
Translation, the $1 million raffle is here, and 15 winners are going to become millionaires. The New York Lottery commemorates 200 years of the Erie Canal with your best odds of winning $1 million. Limited tickets available. Ask your local retailer today. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh, Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football, it's a pepper thing.
Your fantasy roster is set. The smack talk is heating up, and this season, ESPN Bet is giving you more ways to ride with your squad. Introducing the ESPN Bet Fan Center, where you can instantly link and bet on your fantasy teams right in the ESPN Bet app. An enhanced sports betting experience only from ESPN Bet, the sports book for sports fans. Make the connection today with ESPN Bet Fan Center and the ESPN Fantasy app. ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Download the app today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
In the city that never sleeps and never stops talking sports, ESPN New York is always on. Now you can live and breathe everything New York sports wherever you are. On your radio dial, on the ESPN New York app, and streaming live on YouTube. However you watch or listen, ESPN New York is always on for you. Hear us, stream us, watch us. This is ESPN New York.
You know, I'm seeing a lot of noise on social media that they don't like that the Blue Jays celebrated the way they did. And I would tell you, to the victors go the spoils. You don't want them celebrating? Second straight year the Yankees have seen a team celebrate on the field at Yankee Stadium. Dodgers last year, and the Blue Jays. You don't like it, beat them. Everybody wants to beat the Yankees, whether you believe that or not. It's a big deal for the Blue Jays to beat the Yankees. They've seen the Yankees win so many championships, 5 championships since they last won one. You don't think they're going to celebrate like mad? They earned the right. I don't begrudge people that. I really don't. That's why I said with the Blue Jay fans chirping at me, go for it. Now you get to hang on the rim. It's teams that failed early in the playoffs, earlier, or didn't make the playoffs. They shouldn't be chirping or celebrating. Just tend to the Isles of the Spirit Halloween at your stadium and move along. The Blue Jays, they can celebrate. They have the right to do whatever they want. Morty in Plainview. Morty.
Michael, I'm glad you put me on late in the show because earlier I thought we were going to have to put you on decaf. Anyway, you, as always, you laid out everything beautifully. I have to tell you something. This business about a crapshoot is absolute nonsense, okay? If the front office today has as much passion about what happened last night as you had this morning when you started your program, we'd be in a better state of mind, okay? The Yankees are not going to do anything. Anthony Volpe is going to be a very suitable shortstop in Colorado or Pittsburgh or Osaka, but not here, okay? And Wells, by the way, Wells has absolutely no plan when he gets to the plate, none at all. I knew he was going to swing at the first pitch. If the Yankees analytics are so good, why don't they tell him to take a pitch? He always swings at the first pitch. Oh,
well, they probably want him to swing at the first pitch because Morty. I'm sorry, we lost Morty early. Because if you watch the game plan that the Yankees had against a lot of the pitchers, they were swinging at the first pitch in the first inning. So I'm sure analytics told them that was the best pitch they were going to get. You know, nothing is done without some kind of a check back on the analytics. And Morty, you can call back tomorrow. I'm sure you didn't get to say what you want to say. But I will tell you this. The crapshoot line, I hate to say this. It's kind of a get-out-of-jail-free card. Oh, you know what? We get to the postseason, after that it's a crapshoot. Well, it shouldn't be. Make it less of a crapshoot. And as a caller said so expertly earlier, if you keep coming up craps, you're going to walk away from the table or change the way you play. 16 years, you've lost the crapshoot. Last year you came close. I don't begrudge you that, but you ended up losing the crapshoot. So, to me, crapshoot has never been a good explanation. It's just not. Jonathan in L.A. Jonathan.
Hi, Michael.
Hello.
Hello?
How you doing?
Hey, Michael. Really quick. Oh, all right, man. Hanging in there. I want to see what are your thoughts on G's comments regarding on always circling on Boone and blaming him. And I want to congratulate you, man, on 34 years of another season, and being the voice of the Yankees, man. You're always in the house, and I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, Michael.
All right, thank you. I guess John is talking about Jeter and A-Rod on the Fox postgame show put all the blame on Cashman. Now, I'm sure that they believe that, and they didn't put any blame on Boone, but neither of them are in love with Brian Cashman. They're just not. So I'm sure that might color it a little bit. Jeter was told by Cashman, you're not getting any more money, go find it somewhere else. And Alex was essentially let go with a year left on his contract and 4 home runs away from 700. So I'm sure there's no warm feelings toward Cashman. So if they have a chance to go after Brian Cashman, they're going to. I'm not saying that what they're saying is not valid or is valid. I'm just saying that past history might color it just a little bit. But they did completely exonerate Boone. And if you believe it's collaborative, and that's why I don't think there's going to be a change at manager, because I think that Boone is in lockstep with the front office. So why would they change him? It's the formula that's not working. Not that Boone's not working. I'm sure that that's what they think. And they did sign him to a 2-year extension at the beginning of the season. So I'm not sure anything's going to change. I'm not. I would just say, though, 16 years without a championship is an awfully long time. Now, not as long as other franchises, I get that, but in Yankee history, it's the second longest streak without winning a championship. And, the Yankees should operate on Yankee history, not on Met history or Tiger history or Mariner history or Blue Jay history. You operate on what's expected from you in the history of the franchise. 16 years, tied for the second longest streak. So, a disappointing season to say the least. If you want to hit the word failure, feel free, you can. Because when you go to the World Series one year and you get knocked out in the ALDS the next year, you can't say it was a success. You just can't. No matter how you frame it, it was not a success. Coming up, Don Hahn and Rosenberg. We'll talk more tomorrow. We'll have our 2-pack for sure picks. We didn't do well last week, I'll be honest with you. And I'm sure there'll be more fallout about the Yankees losing to the Blue Jays and their season ending so early. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Enjoy the Giants and the Eagles, and we'll talk again tomorrow at 1.
Ballybet Sportsbook. Yo, Ballybet stacked for football season. When it comes to sportsbook apps, it's undefeated. Ballybet. Check out that brand new parlay zone. Here's the kickoff. Build your bets and place them right on your phone. What?